Hi again everyone, and this is one of my favourite ways of walking up onto the moor, and it always reminds me a little bit that we live in a temperate rainforest when the weather's like this and it's all green and lovely. This is my guide to the Bronze Age, and today we're heading up onto the moor, and I'm joined by my indomitable cameraman Sol. Say hello, Sol.
Hello.
And although it is my guide to the Bronze Age, in fact today we're going to go and visit a site that predates the Bronze Age. We're going to visit a Neolithic long barrow. So without further ado, let's head off. So I love a day like this on Dartmoor. It's really misty. You've got to have your wits about you. And it just makes me feel like I'm back in the time of the ancients. And Dartmoor is covered in ancient remains from the Bronze Age and before. And in fact, right here, beside me here, if you look down here, there's a stone road disappearing into the mist. And my theory is that these are signposts that used to help people find out where they were on the moor. And I'm using this one today because I know this one quite well. And it's going to help us get to this ancient burial mound. So we've got to head into that mist over there. Hope I don't get lost. I may never see you again. Okay, so while I'm wandering around off up there on Dartmoor in the mist, I thought we could quickly come back here to my classroom and think about where the Bronze Age and the Neolithic age sit in the period of history. And it's also given me an opportunity to deck myself out and my classroom out in rainbows to say thank you to all of that incredible work that all the key workers have been doing over the last few weeks. Now, what we're talking about here is a prehistoric timeline, because prehistory means that nothing was recorded or written down. History doesn't start till the Romans arrive at the end of this timeline in 55 BC, but prehistory starts way off back there, about 2 million years ago or longer, at the start of the Stone Age. And then it comes nearer and nearer to us until about 12,000 years ago, at the end of the last ice age. The period of time after the last ice age is known as the Mesolithic, and that's followed about 6,000 years ago by the Neolithic period. And Neolithic is taken from two Greek words actually. The neo means new and the lithic means stone, so it's the new Stone Age, it's the very last bit of the Stone Age. And the difference between the Mesolithic and the Neolithic is that the Mesolithic people were hunter-gatherers and the Neolithic people were the first farmers who would have kept a few animals and grown a few crops. But it wasn't an immediate change. There would have still been hunter-gatherers during the Neolithic period of time. And it was a gradual process, and it continued to be gradual until the Bronze Age, which is considered in Britain to have started about 4,500 years ago. And it starts with the arrival of bronze and people starting to make tools out of bronze rather than out of stone. But again, it would have been a very gradual process, and it's very likely that people would have been using stone tools many centuries into the Bronze Age. And then the very last bit of British prehistory, before the Romans arrive, is the Iron Age. And that started about 2,800 years ago. And once again, it wasn't an overnight, oh, it's the Iron Age this morning. It would have been a gradual process as people started to use, more and more people would have started to use iron tools. Now, today, we're heading back to the Neolithic period to visit the long barrow that was built in that period of time, somewhere 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. And so we'll go up there now, and hopefully I haven't got lost. Okay, so it's a little bit windy up here, and so I might have to speak up a little bit, but the good thing is it's blown the mist away, and we've arrived here at the long barrow that you can see behind me with these stones at the southern end. And today we're going to be archaeologists, and archaeologists are people who study ancient sites like this. And to be a good archaeologist, you have to be part detective and you have to be part historian, and you've got to look at the evidence that is around you and the clues that are there, and you've got to spend time looking around the site to get a feel for what it might have been like when it was first built, or when those ancient people were using it all those thousands of years ago. And the first thing that I notice is that it's not actually on the highest piece of land. You can see it from a long way away, but there's a hill up on this side and there's a hill up on this side, so they haven't actually chosen the highest piece of land around to build the burial site. I don't know if that's significant or not, but it's just something that is worth noting. So we'll go and have a closer look, see what else we can see. Well, here we are on the long barrow, and it's quite big. It's about 40 metres long, and there's not very many of them around. In fact, there's only 7 that are known in Devon, but actually there's 2 in this area, about 1.5 miles over in that direction. And experts believe that they date back between 4,000 and 5,000 years old, which is quite a large window in time. And these long barrows are ancient burial chambers. And at this end, at the southern end, they would have had an entrance and a chambered tomb, and it's believed that these rocks here are the remains of that chambered tomb. And there's quite a good one here, still standing up. So it's possible that they had these sort of 2 or some standing stones to form the structure, with maybe a flatter cover stone resting on the top, and there may have been soil and stone over the top of that. It's very difficult to say, but this could certainly be the remains of a cover stone. So again, being an archaeologist is about coming up with theories, and when you're talking about a theory from thousands of years ago, prehistory, none of this written down, you know, all you can do is really compare it to what you know about humans. And so these long barrows, which are these ancient burial chambers, the ones that have been excavated in other places that date back to this age, show that they have the remains of more than one human in them. So for me, that makes it clear that, or not, well, it doesn't make it clear, but I think that means that this is some kind of ancient cemetery, if you like, where lots of people would have been buried, and those people were much like us. They would have known about love, and they would have known how to laugh and how to sing and how to dance and how to get angry, but they might also have known about grief. Well, they would have known about grief, and they would have known what it felt like to lose somebody. And much as we visit cemeteries to pay the respects to the people that we know who've died, who we love, I'm sure that something very similar must have been happening here 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. And here's a theory that I've got that I'd like to share with you about this particular site, because whenever I come here, I'm always interested in this big flat rock here that seems to be just outside the entrance to this burial chamber, burial mound. And it seems to me that where today us humans go and we leave flowers on the graves of our loved ones, I think maybe this was somewhere where the Neolithic people came and left offerings for their loved ones. And so I'm going to do that today. I've made this rush torque, which is a kind of Celtic necklace, and I'm just going to leave it on this stone as an offering to those ancient ancestors of ours. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, everybody, and that's the end of my guide today. I'm going to do some more stuff on the Bronze Age soon, because there's so much to see up here on the moor. So please, if you enjoyed it, come back and look out for my other videos and give me the thumbs up, and then I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.